Since my parents are moving in with us, his unexpected requests caught me off guard in the house we've shared. I was taken aback to be told such a thing. I hesitated but managed to request some time to pack. "Can you wait until tomorrow?" I asked. That was my response after some thought. Coldly, he replied, "Fine, I'll stay in a nearby hotel until then. I don't want to see your face." I wondered where he planned to get the money for the hotel from our joint account, but I decided not to ask him right then and remained silent. "If you leave any of your stuff, I'll throw it away," he said as he opened the door. I watched him leave and let out a deep sigh. I'm the one paying $1,800 a month for the house mortgage. Sometimes I wondered if he truly understood that. I pulled myself together and contacted our daughter Anna. "Anna, I need to leave the house for a bit. Can I stay with you for a while?" Sure. I'll come pick you up tomorrow." "Thank you so much," I replied, feeling grateful for her words. I dialed another number. I felt like George had been looking down on me, so I decided to give him a lesson. In the end, George had a tough experience. "My name is Sarah. I'm 51, and I spend my days working hard at work and at home. I live with my husband, George. One day, I met him through an acquaintance, and before I knew it, we were married. At 23, we were blessed with an angelic daughter, Anna. However, George hardly ever paid attention to Anna, and I was mostly the one taking care of her. Hey, play with Anna once in a while, I'd say." He carelessly responded, "That's a woman's job, right?" Yes, he had decided that housework was a woman's duty and wouldn't help. But Anna was such a good child, always helping me whenever I was tired. "Dad, if you're relaxing, help out. Housework is your mother's duty." Without hesitation, Anna retorted, "Then what's your duty? Mom works for both you and her." Even George couldn't resist helping a bit after hearing her genuine words. Now Anna has built a new life in a distant state, living happily with her husband's family. My parents passed away in an accident 5 years ago, and I had to let go of our beloved family home. George's parents live a bit far away, and we only see them at occasional family gatherings. They don't interfere with our lives and live peacefully. The relationship between George and me was, to put it mildly, complicated. Simply put, he's living day to day like a part-timer. "How's your current job?" I'd ask. "I quit again," he'd say. His nature is to quit at the slightest obstacle. Whenever there's a problem, he runs away quickly. At best, he stays at his job for 3 months. At worst, he quits on the first day. Because of this pattern, there aren't many companies willing to employ him long-term. So even at 56, he's stuck doing part-time jobs. We often fight over this. "Don't you want to take things more seriously?" I'd ask. "You're so persistent." "People just don't appreciate my abilities," he'd respond. George's educational background is impressive. He graduated from a renowned university. But one's worth isn't just about their educational background, and I believe he should utilize that impressive education in his work. But I sometimes doubt if he's truly leveraging his abilities. My background is different. I started working right after high school. During high school, my father fell, and I had to support our family financially. Thanks to that, I've become a reliable figure in my company, yet it seemed that George didn't appreciate my efforts. "You didn't even go to college, yet you complain about me whenever I voice my opinion," he'd say. So lately, I've been careful about what I say to him. Back when he was chasing his dreams, his eyes shone so brightly that I was captivated, just like stars. While pursuing his dream, he truly sparkled. But recently, that spark seems to have disappeared. I wonder what he thinks of me. Lately, I've been having thoughts like that more and more, even considering divorce. Then a surprising incident happened. I was a bit curious and checked our joint bank account. It's decreased by $2,000. Why? For someone like me who doesn't waste money, this amount was a shock. After all, I've been working hard to protect our household finances. So I asked him, "What did you use this $2,000 for?" He replied with an annoyed expression, "Actually, I gave it to my parents." I thought to myself, why? His parents, nearing 80, were really energetic and enjoyed doing volunteer work. I had never heard that they were in trouble, so I was surprised. I always considered his parents to be dependable. They've helped us in the past, but I never imagined they'd need our help. I couldn't hide my shock and surprise that he spent $2,000 for his parents. When I asked, "Why did you spend so much money?" he replied proudly, "Actually, my mother's birthday is coming up, so I decided to give her a surprise hot spring trip." "But why from our joint account?" I asked. He casually replied, "It's okay. It's all part of being filial." I was a bit angry and said, "Shouldn't you have used your own pocket money?" He's always like this, using the money I save up without any hesitation. Like this house, for instance. He committed to it without consulting me. When I was worried about the payments, he reassured me by saying, "You have a steady job, so it should be fine, right?" Even though the house was bought in my name, he seems to brag to his friends that it's his. Honestly, I've been feeling worn out by his attitude. "You're my wife, just follow my directions," he said, looking displeased, and then he went to his room. Whenever something went amiss, he locked himself away. Left to ponder our problems, I would engage in chores, the money I diligently saved now used to cover our tight budget, as he consumed almost all my part-time job income. Despite my desire to escape this situation, I found myself sighing one day, memories of our recent fight still fresh. Unexpectedly, a call from my mother-in-law thanking us for the hot spring trip brought more shock. She disclosed that he had proposed that they live with us after their trip. Surprised, I asked, "Why did you suggest living together?" He said they're getting old, and it might be better to sell the family home and live together, she explained. I insisted such decisions should be made together, reminding him of our household situation. In anger, he snapped, "You're so annoying. If you're not satisfied, do whatever you want." Speechless, I witnessed him hit the table in anger. "All right, but I need time to pack. Can you wait until tomorrow?" I managed to reply. "It's okay. I wanted some space anyway. I'll stay at a hotel for the next couple of days," he replied hastily, concerned about where he would get the money for the hotel. I feared it would be from our joint account. As he left in a hurry, threatening to throw out any of my belongings left behind, I felt drained. "Don't you know that I'm paying a monthly mortgage of $1,800? I muttered to myself. Deciding to seek refuge, I contacted my daughter, Anna, who lives in another state. "Hello, Anna. You won't believe what happened," I began, and she responded with her usual kindness. As I explained the sudden arrival of his parents and his demand for me to leave, Anna expressed her shock. "That's troubling, but if there's any way I can help, let me know," she reassured. Her comforting words lightened my heart. I was wondering, can I stay at your place for a bit? "Of course, don't even ask. You're always welcome," Anna replied warmly. Grateful for her support, I took a deep breath. After hanging up, I decided to go to Anna's place, but it wouldn't end there. I had my own plans, so I made another call to solve one more problem. It seemed like he was underestimating me, and if that was the case, maybe I'd give him a little surprise. The next day, George found himself in a much more difficult situation than expected. His home, once a source of stress, now felt like a true sanctuary for the soul. For the first time in a while, I had a genuinely relaxing moment. Taking a break from work, I enjoyed some me time, basking in the warmth of my daughter and her husband's family, who warmly welcomed me. The bond within the family felt incredibly special, especially after my mother-in-law's passing. Even my little granddaughter, initially wary, reached out to play with me, her voice calling me Grandma oddly comforting. In the midst of this peaceful time, my mobile rang, and looking at the notification, I thought to myself, I knew it. I answered, and George, sounding frantic, asked, "What happened?" "The house is a mess." Suppressing a chuckle, I replied, "That's because, like you said, I removed almost everything." Perplexed, he inquired, "What do you mean, almost everything?" I explained that I had contacted a friend running a waste collection service, and they helped me clean out furniture and appliances. Recyclable items went to a trusted recycling shop, and non-recyclables were properly disposed of. Reminding him that I chose and bought most of the stuff in our house, I playfully teased, "Do you recall anything you bought with your own money?" Taking time to think, George replied, "You may be right." But the situation seemed a bit extreme to him. At that moment, Anna approached me, taking my phone with a smile, saying, "Mom, let me borrow this for a bit." Switching on the speaker, she addressed George. "Dad, it's Anna. It's been a while." Her cheery confirmation puzzled George, and with a serious expression, Anna asked, "Dad, why has it come to this? Mom has always been the backbone of our home and supported us. What about you?" Her words weighed heavy, and tension filled the room. Curious about George's response, I decided to be straightforward. "Enough. Tell Sarah I'm seriously considering a divorce." "Are you serious? What do you plan to do, Mom, if it comes to that?" George's voice carried sheer astonishment. My unexpected response seemed to catch him off guard. He appeared a bit too self-centered. "I'm open to a divorce, really," I reiterated, responding to his apparent disbelief. Recalling our marital life, I remembered how I took care of our finances while he spent freely. Money-related arguments were not uncommon. "It's okay. I get it. Just make sure to transfer the house's name," he said. "Sure, the house is yours now." "All right then. I'll prepare the necessary documents." "Thanks." After ending the call, Anna returned my phone. Concern showed on her face, but her smile was kind and understanding. "Mom, are you sure about the house? You bought everything with your salary, right?" "Well, there's nothing to worry about." Actually, when I told Anna the truth about the house, she burst out laughing. I explained, "Indeed, I acquired that house with my money, but there's still a mountain of unpaid mortgages. The amount of those mortgages is many times George's monthly salary. I can't imagine him paying that every month." "I see. You're really amazing, aren't you, Mom?" Anna praised. "I've been working behind the scenes a bit too, so Dad will probably get into a fix soon." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Actually, I've become very close with Grandpa and Grandma, so I get a lot of information." Anna winked playfully, flashing a mischievous grin. Unlike me, she highly valued her relationship with her grandparents and frequently kept in touch. After Anna reached out to her grandmother, things quickly escalated. My in-laws decided to cut their trip short and came to apologize to me. "Sarah, we're truly sorry. We should have explained our situation." They gently elaborated on the recent chaos. The decision about selling their family home was true, but the reason behind it was because they were planning to move into a senior facility. They were currently waiting for a room to open up in the retirement home, and for the brief interim, they needed a place to stay, which happened to be our house. Upon hearing their wishes, George suggested they all live together with him. Although my in-laws were worried about causing me inconveniences, George told them Sarah fully agrees. In fact, she suggested it. Thus, they seemed convinced to move in. However, I never agreed to any such thing. My relationship with my in-laws was quite ordinary. I would never make such a bold proposal. So, it was all Dad's cunning idea, Anne remarked, looking exasperated. My in-laws, resembling parents apologizing for their child's mischief, seemed deeply remorseful. Afterward, they were furious at George. Their eyes brimmed with the question, "Why would you do such a thing?" They concluded by seemingly cutting ties with their son, distancing themselves from him. Later, they deeply apologized to me and left in a somber mood. Honestly, I think my in-laws are decent people. They seemed financially stable, having aided in George's expensive university fees. "Hey, do you think Grandma and Grandpa's parenting style is a bit too liberal?" Anna asked me curiously. "Why do you think that way?" I responded. "Well, they could see Dad not working, but they didn't say anything. Plus, he seems to have inherited their personality." True, George always appeared quite indifferent towards me. My in-laws seemed absorbed in their volunteer work and hobbies, drawing a line between them and our family. However, maybe that's not unusual. I was always worried about you, Anna, and occasionally called you. Perhaps my in-laws' leniency influenced George's selfish behavior, but George is an adult. He shouldn't let little things upset him and should act responsibly. It had only been a month since our divorce when my phone rang again. I noticed George's name, someone I considered part of my past, with a slight frown. I answered, "What now?" "We have nothing left between us." "Listen, it's about the house mortgage." Panic and confusion filled his voice. Apparently, he had received the next mortgage statement. I had diligently paid $1,800 every month, but he might have been unaware of the amount. "It says $1,800 a month. Unbelievable." "Yes, I've been paying it properly. You graduated from a good school, right? You can manage that, can't you?" I could understand his shock. George's income was just over $1,200 a month, and given his spending habits, he barely saved anything. Although most items in the house were gone, he managed with things he received from his parents. However, he wasn't good at housekeeping and ended up spending money on eating out and laundromats. For him, a mortgage surpassing his income would be tough. Are you surprised that I, a high school graduate, can pay $1,800? Well, kind of. You see, even as a high school graduate, I worked hard steadily, getting promotions. I realized the importance of perseverance. That's impressive, but it might be tough for me. It was your choice to be in this situation. Stop blaming others and take responsibility. When we divorced, we had clearly discussed the mortgage and other details. It was a given that George would pay for it if he continued to live in that house. By the way, his parents seemed to have moved to a senior facility. When George reached out for help, they firmly told him, "You're an adult. Take care of your own affairs." "Sarah, won't you reconsider? Let's start anew." "Wait, you're kidding, right? We can't be together anymore." "Then how am I supposed to pay off the mortgage?" "That's for you to figure out. When we were together, I paid for it, didn't I?" Hearing his frustrated voice, I thought to myself, do your best. His future decisions and actions were up to him. I changed my settings so that I wouldn't receive any more calls from him. I had just started on a new path, so being pulled back into the past was truly bothersome. "Hey, did you get any call from Dad?" Actually, yes. Despite never truly apologizing, he asked if we could get back together. I could see through his words though. It's all about money. Oh, maybe that's why he contacted me too. After I rejected his proposal, it seemed he had been contacting Anna numerous times. Despite always being weak in front of Anna, him persistently trying to contact her might mean he was genuinely struggling. I told him that this is the result of his actions. Exactly. Also, now that you finally have the peace you deserve, Mom, I told him sternly not to cause any more trouble. Thank you so much, Anna. I'm so happy to see my daughter grow into such a considerate and wonderful woman. I felt proud of her. Hey, Mom. I've been wondering, do you know what Dad was spending his money on? Why do you ask? Didn't he frequently spend money on gambling? At that, I couldn't help but chuckle. George's income wasn't that great, to be honest. Now that I think about it, maybe he was sometimes grumpy because he lost money due to gambling. That's true. On the days he actually won, he would sometimes buy special treats. His personality was perhaps a bit simple, but I wonder why I even married him. I chuckled at the naivety of my past self. When my friend introduced me to him, he seemed to sparkle. But Anna is smart. She learned from my experiences and chose someone opposite of George, someone truly kind. Anna's husband is family-oriented, spends weekends with her and their daughter actively, and has a high position at his job, ensuring a stable life. He loves playing with his daughter during his free time and occasionally checks up on me. You really chose a good man. Do you think so, Mom? Thank you. As she spoke with a beaming smile, she looked genuinely happy. From now on, it's time for you to enjoy your life more. I'm getting older though. I'm not sure where to start. Age is just a number, Mom. You can still find a lot of happiness ahead of you. Hearing Anna's words warmed my heart. I suddenly hoped for someone understanding, like Anna's father-in-law, to be my next partner in life. Just then, I heard my granddaughter calling out to play. "Grandma, come play with me." "Oh, have you been waiting to play with me? Let's play together." Surrounded by Anna's joyful family, I too was smiling. I'm glad that Anna is blessed with such a wonderful family. Changing the topic, Anna said, "It seems George faced financial difficulties and had to sell a house. He used the money to pay off some debts, but moved to a cramped apartment. He struggled to find a stable job, and his debts only grew. Eventually, he couldn't even pay rent and ended up living on the streets. One day, I heard shocking news that he was taken away by a shady group. His path was indeed a result of his own choices. George's parents felt deeply remorseful. They didn't want to burden me anymore. They sold their house and used their savings to pay for a facility. They also ensured their inheritance would go to me. I don't need this much money, I told them, but they insisted it was their apology. In the midst of all this, with a bit of financial freedom, I considered moving out of Anna's home. But, Mom, you can stay here. I certainly don't want to bother you and your family, Anna. Actually, my husband and I were talking about living together with you." "Really? It seems you've always cared for me." After discussing it with her husband and father-in-law, they planned to invite me to live with them. And then I received the invitation at just the right time. So, Mom, don't be too concerned. Just have fun playing with the kids, okay? Thank you, Anna. My granddaughter had taken a real liking to me due to Anna's husband's background of being raised in a single-parent household with his father. He warmly welcomed me into their home, and his father-in-law also expressed his wish for me to live happily. With that kind gesture, I decided to move in with them. Previously, money was tight, so I had to work. But now, with the help of Anna, her husband, and her father-in-law, things have become much easier. And here's some exciting news. Anna is expecting her second child. In the meantime, I've been helping around the house, playing with my granddaughter, and spending my time that way. Anna's father-in-law also helps with household chores just like me, so we have a fun time together doing things around the house. Whenever I do something, the family always says thank you, and that makes me very happy. Unlike my previous husband, this family openly expresses their gratitude each time. I truly feel fortunate. When asked how I get along with my father-in-law, I replied with a smile. I want to spend my life with him forever. That's good. It feels like a new family, Anna said gently, rubbing her belly. With Anna in my life, everything has become much brighter. Meeting her might be the only thing I'm thankful for regarding George. Oh, with that thought, I'm motivated to do my best for my family today as well. Sarah, if you'd like, I want to walk through life with you from now on. How does that sound? Are you sure about me? If so, of course. Let's be together. I responded to his words like this. I've regained my confidence. I was on the verge of forgetting my own worth, but his words made me realize its value again. I believe that as a family, we'll face many happy moments and challenges together from now on, and that truly warms my heart.